It has now been proven by the Mueller team that President Trump, his campaign, and his family had absolutely nothing to do with any so-called Russia collusion which the Democrat Party, led by crooked Hillary Clinton, set up as a narrative to excuse her devastating loss in the 2016 election and to take down a sitting president. Yes folks, after over a year of accusations, investigations, and chants that President Trump will be impeached by the liberals in our society, the FBI has officially cleared him of any wrongdoing by indicting 13 Russian internet trolls who by all accounts have nothing on President Barack Hussein Obama, who spent his 8 years in the Oval Office meddling in the elections of sovereign nations. Obama interfered in the elections of his homeland of Kenya back in 2007 when he was a U.S. Senator by speaking in favor of his cousin Raila Odinga, which led to 600 people dead and 250,000 people being displaced because of rioting after the election. He also interfered in the Israeli elections, where he spent $350,000 of U.S. taxpayer money to oust Benjamin Netanyahu, who had the ire of the then U.S. president. He went on to threaten the British with trade penalties if they exercised the rights to a sovereign and independent nation. And last, by no means not least, Obama was the one responsible for pushing the Egyptian Prime Minister Hosni Mubarak out of office. A man who was both a staunch U.S. ally and a friend to the nation of Israel. This is only a partial list of the ways Obama tried to meddle in the world during his tenure as U.S. president. Although the U.S. State Department will probably ask for the extraction of these 13 Russian nationals, we will never see them on U.S. soil. After all, Putin isn't a wimp of a leader like Obama was. He doesn't bow to anyone. But wouldn't it be great if we could trade those 13 Russian rabble-rousers in exchange for Obama being brought to trial via Fox News? A federal jury on Friday indicted 13 Russians and 3 Russian companies for allegedly interfering in the 2016 presidential election, in a case brought by special counsel Robert Mueller that detailed a sophisticated plot to wage information warfare against the U.S. The Russian nationals are accused of setting a strategic goal to sow discord in the U.S. political system, including the 2016 presidential election. The indictment, the first filed against Russian nationals as part of Mueller's probe, effectively returns focus to the meddling activities out of Russia in the run-up to the 2016 election, following a string of charges relating to the actions of Trump associates. Former Department of Justice official Robert Driscoll comments on the indictment of 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian companies for attempting to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Further, the DOJ made clear that the indictment does not allege that any of the interference changed the outcome of the presidential race. There is no allegation in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity. There is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who oversees the special counsel probe, said at a Friday press conference. President Trump reacted to the indictments by seizing on Rosenstein's comment that the election results were not impacted by the Russians' activity. Russia started their anti-US campaign in 2014, long before I announced that I would run for president, Trump tweeted. The results of the election were not impacted. The Trump campaign did nothing wrong, no collusion. The 37-page indictment, signed by Mueller, said the actions detailed by prosecutors date back to 2014. The defendants are accused of spreading derogatory information about Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, denigrating Republican candidates Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, and ultimately supporting Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders and then Republican candidate Donald Trump. It says the defendants spread derogatory information about various candidates throughout the 2016 campaign and by early to mid-2016 were supporting Trump's presidential campaign. Rosenstein, though, said that after the election, the group worked both to stage rallies in favor of President-elect Trump and in opposition to his election. Rosenstein on Friday described a sophisticated operation by Russian organization Internet Research Agency. He said the scheme involved setting up hundreds of social media accounts using stolen or fictitious identities to make it appear like the accounts were controlled by individuals in the U.S. He said the defendants posed as politically active Americans and recruited real Americans to stage rallies and engage in political activities. But Rosenstein said those Americans did not know they were communicating with Russians. We have known that Russians meddled in the election, but these indictments detail the extent of the subterfuge, House Speaker Paul Ryan said. These Russians engaged in a sinister and systematic attack on our political system. It was a conspiracy to subvert the process and take aim at democracy itself. Democrats on Capitol Hill, though, reacted by continuing to suggest that people associated with Trump or his campaign could have been involved in Russia's meddling. It is imperative that the special counsel investigation be allowed to continue to follow the facts on the Trump-Russia scandal, unhindered by the White House or Republicans in Congress, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, D. Califf, said. The American people deserve to know the full extent of Russia's interference in our election and the involvement of Trump officials. The president ignored shouted questions from reporters as he departed the White House for Florida on Friday afternoon. But in a statement released by the White House, Trump said we cannot allow those seeking to sow confusion, discord, and rancor to be successful. It's time we stop the outlandish partisan attacks, wild and false allegations, and far-fetched theories which only serve to further the agendas of bad actors, like Russia, and do nothing to protect the principles of our institutions, he said. We must unite as Americans to protect the integrity of our democracy and our elections. James Trusty says there's no indication that the U.S. government will pursue extradition for Russian nationals indicted for attempting to interfere in the presidential election. According to the special counsel, the indictment charges the defendants with conspiracy to defraud the United States, 3 defendants with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 5 defendants with aggravated identity theft. The 3 entities charged in the indictment are Internet Research Agency LLC, Concord Management and Consulting LLC and Concord Catering. The 13 Russians charged are Yevgeny Viktorovich Prigozhin, Mikhail Ivanovich Bistrov, Mikhail Leonidovich Burchik, Alexandra Yuryevna Krylova, Anna Vladislavovna Bogasheva, Sergei Pavlovich Polozov, Maria Anatoly Rivanabov, Robert Sergetovich Bovdadazek, Nassimi Ogli, Vadim Vladimirovich Podkopayev, Gleb Igorovich Vasilchenko, Irina Viktorovna Kavazina, and Vladimir Venkov. The indictment says Internet Research Agency registered with the Russian government as a corporate entity in 2013. It employed hundreds of individuals for its online operations and had an annual budget equaling millions of US dollars, the filing said. Prosecutors accused the Russians of communicating with a red U.S. person affiliated with a Texas-based grassroots organization. They learned from that person to focus their activities on purple states like Colorado, Virginia and Florida, the indictment says. It also says the group's employees, referred to as specialists, created social media accounts to look like they were operated by Americans. They created group pages on Facebook and Instagram with names like Secured Borders, Blacktivist to promote the Black Lives Matter movement, United Muslims of America, Army of Jesus, South United and Heart of Texas. They also created and controlled numerous Twitter accounts, like one named Tennessee Gop under the @10_Gop handle that attracted more than 100,000 followers. According to the indictment, the specialists were instructed to post content online that criticized Hillary and the rest except Sanders and Trump. We support them. It said they used pro-Trump, anti-Clinton hashtags online like Trump 2016, Trump trained, MAGA ill on to protect Hillary, and Hillary for prison. It says the defendants, around the latter half of 2016, encouraged minority groups in the United States not to vote in the election or vote for a third-party candidate. An Instagram account they controlled called Woke Blacks posted a message on October 16, 2016 that read, "We cannot resort to the lesser of two devils. Then we'd surely be better off without voting at all." The special counsel's office also said Friday that an American, Richard Pinedo, 28, of Santa Paula, Califf, pleaded guilty February 12 to identity fraud as part of its investigation. A filing from prosecutors said Pinedo sold bank account numbers over the Internet. For the web powered by Zergnet Olympic figure skater handles wardrobe malfunction perfectly. The real reason you don't hear about LeAnn Rimes anymore. The letter JFK wrote to his lover a month before he died. Here's who Jackie Kennedy thought had her husband killed. This is what's at the center of Bristol Palin's divorce. Why McDonald's ice cream machines always seem to be broken.